I've been thinking a lot about TikTok recently, so let me just play it for you now.
Instead of going to therapy, here's what your favorite trope says about you. And I want you guys to think on this. Do you really like enemies to lovers, or do you just like the idea of someone seeing you at your worst and still loving you? Do you really like friends to lovers, or do you just have trouble opening up to people? Do you really like the star-crossed lover trope, or are you just afraid of commitment? Do you actually like love triangles, or were you just asked out as a joke in middle school? Do you actually like academic rivals to lovers, or do you just deeply desire a relationship where you're respected? Do you actually like forbidden love, or do you just want what you can't have? Now, you could very well like these tropes for no underlying reason, but I think we both know that's not the case.
So obviously, there's something tongue-in-cheek about this TikTok. I don't think that the creator here is trying to be understood completely seriously, but there is a serious vibe to it. Like, I don't think it's completely a joke, and at any rate, I see ideas like this floating around a lot, so let's respond to it as though it's 100% serious for a second here. The first thing I want to say is the obvious, right? I don't agree with her analysis. I don't think that people like enemies to lovers broadly because they want someone to love them at their worst. I think that might be a part of it, but there can be a lot of reasons why you like Zuko and Katara giving each other a little kiss, holding each other and giving each other a little kiss. I don't think it's as straightforward as this person is trying to make it out to be. But the thing that I find really interesting about this TikTok is the choice of word there. Do you actually like friends to lovers, or, that's the interesting word, or do you just want somebody to love you at your worst? Normally, you'd think the word would be because, right? Do you like friends to lovers because you want somebody to love you at your worst? And yet here, the simple fact that there is a psychological motivation to your feelings of joy at seeing a fictional character's kiss illegitimizes that pleasure. I find that super interesting because it's difficult to imagine that same logic applying to pain. Are you actually upset, or do you just have social anxiety? Are you actually sad, or were you just broken up with and have abandonment issues? That doesn't make any sense because we all understand that people have reasons they're sad and that those reasons don't make the sadness not real. And yet here, in the case of pleasure, we enter into this sort of pathologizing mode, right? The very fact that you have an emotional reality that underpins your enjoyment means that your joy doesn't count. And I guess I would ask why we choose to deprive ourselves in this way, why we're willing to take pain to be this obvious, self-evidencing mechanism of our minds, and yet pleasure can never stand on its own. Pleasure must always be thrust back into pathology the second at which we try to explain it. The world, according to the philosophy of this TikTok, is in fact dark and ugly, and the pleasures that we find must always reflect that.